Hello, everybody, and welcome to Super Switch Headz, the premier Nintendo podcast and all of the internet. My name is David Howe.
My name is Matthew Stoner.
My name is Patrick Nisley.
And we have a very special guest on the podcast tonight. Andrew Ryder is here, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
How you doing?
I'm doing really well. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. We're glad to have you. Andrew is an old friend of mine living in New York, so quarantine time was perfect time to remote in for Andrew. We've got a very special episode for you guys tonight, or today, or whatever the fuck time it is that you're listening to this podcast. We're going to be talking all about in-depth diving into the supposedly final Mario Maker 2 update, version 3.0 that just came out. I've been playing a ton of it. I can't wait to talk about it. Adds, course worlds, and adds tons of new features, adds a new character of sorts. We're going to be breaking that all down. We've also got a lot of news we're going to be getting into today. Some Splatoon 2 news to talk about, some more mishaps with the account problems with the Nintendo Switch. I've got some Fortnite news, some Panzer Dragoon news. We got a whole boatload of stuff to talk to you guys about today.
And we're going to talk nothing but The Last of Us 2 leaks. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, just so you know, this is a spoiler-heavy episode of Super Switch Headz for a PlayStation game that is coming out in a couple months. That's a joke. I guess we should probably get into some shout-outs.
Yeah, there's one in particular. As you may have heard if you were listening to our last episode or two, I bought a Switch Lite and I ordered two, and they both showed up. So I want to quickly shout out AJ, also known as The Rage or Rageroni, a longtime listener of the show, who did not have a Switch prior to this, but now purchased my extra Switch Lite. So thanks to AJ for listening for so long, and for picking up the Switch Lite. Saved me making a awkward return to a electronics store.
And AJ, welcome to the Switch fam.
AJ's a great guy, and glad that you finally have a Switch so you can tell what the fuck we're talking about on the podcast. And
I told AJ he's got to play a bunch so he can maybe guest sometime.
Yeah, you gotta get on our level first, man. Come on.
I want to say just a shout out to the Switch Headz community in general, like the Discord and Animal Crossing and people sharing items and inviting people to their islands. Like Kyle, part of the Switch Headz, created island tours where he wrote up a really, really nice, very wholesome write-up about his island and what it's about and the story about it. And so I think we might be doing that regularly, where we feature someone's island and we all go visit it.
Yeah. It's hard to get a good tour when everybody's just buying and selling turnips and people are coming and going. You can't move but a few feet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Andrew knows all what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we should get in the news unless anybody's got anything else.
Sounds good to me.
So like you said, Splatoon 2, they added a surprise bonus Splatfest that's coming up May 22nd. A long time ago, we were told we got the last final Splatfest of Chaos versus Order, but no, we're getting this bonus one. Why do you think this is, y'all?
Well, I mean, they've got a deal going on Splatoon during this time as well, and I think you can play for free as well leading up to the Splatfest. So I think they're just trying to, I think they've seen that numbers are probably low. They're trying to get people back to play the game a little bit. Matt, you excited about this?
Yeah, I'm Team Mayo. If you're Team Ketchup, or if you want to really say it's blood versus cum.
Yeah, that's what it was last time. Yeah.
So Team Mayo won.
Team Mayo won the first time around. Yeah, I was on Team Ketchup, and I think I'm gonna switch over this time. I think it'll be good if our whole community is on one team, so we don't have to kill each other.
Fair enough. So that's cool. If you're a Splatoon fan, or if you want to jump back in the game, we can do that. I think we'll probably organize a group of us to play at the same time.
Very excited.
So we talked about last week, there'd been a lot of people talking about their Switch accounts being hacked, a lot of Fortnite V-Bucks being bought on people's credit cards and stuff. And it sounds like Nintendo finally has come out and confirmed that there was a breach, that 160,000 accounts were hacked, and that it was all through the Nintendo Network IDs, the NNID, which is sort of the legacy logon from like 3DS days.
Right. Yeah, 3DS and Wii U and Wii all used an NNID, I believe.
So I guess if you don't have an NNID account, you're probably safe. If you did, or I guess they're discontinuing it. So if you had one, you might want to check your credit card statements and stuff. Keep an eye out. And they once again encourage people to do two-factor authentication, which I finally set up on my Switch. Do y'all have that enabled?
Yep, sure do.
I actually have not done that yet. I need to do that. I've got that on a couple other accounts that I use. I use like Google Authenticator, and that works really well. I just haven't got.
That's what they do it through, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Authenticator.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think Nintendo already has changed all the passwords on the accounts that they thought were affected by this. So it shouldn't still be going down, but definitely, yeah, check your bank accounts. If you've got any weird stuff on there, then call Nintendo right away because they should be able to help you out.
And this was a weird bit of news that came out that 3 of the Joy-Con colors, gray, yellow, and red, are being phased out or production is ending on them. And that this is kind of unclear. There's a Japanese Nintendo website that lists them as having ended production. And there's a lot of speculation. This could just mean that, for now, while there's issues to do with coronavirus or, for whatever various reasons that this is happening. It doesn't mean they're going away forever, but it might. I can't imagine the gray is going away forever. What do y'all think about this? Did y'all see this?
Yeah, the gray and red are some of the original colors.
Yeah.
I think it might be the red, like the solid red that came with the Super Mario Odyssey version.
I
don't think the neon red is going anywhere. But.
Right. And these all may be coming back at some point. It's just kind of funny to see this.
Yeah. What kind of color Joy-Cons do you have, Andrew?
I got gray.
Exciting gray.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
Well, you got
gray.
the collector's edition gray now.
I guess so.
Yeah, hold on to that shit. Don't let those drift.
I want to snag some Mario Red while you still can.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking about grabbing some grays because every single one of my Joy-Cons now, all 4 of them have drift. And it's made Animal Crossing a lot more frustrating to play.
When you're digging or whatever?
Yeah, when you're digging or when you're trying to fish, or when you're fucking doing anything, like you're constantly like moving to the left, like it's really annoying. So the repair shops are still closed, I believe, Nintendo's repair centers. So I'm not going to do it though. I'm not going to let them get to me like that. I don't need 6 Joy-Cons.
Nintendo also put out information on another one of these Mario Kart North American Open tournaments where you can earn some gold points, happening on May 8th. So it's cool to see that with Splatoon and Mario Kart and previously with ARMS too, that they've been giving us some more events for these older 2017 games. They're still getting some support. You'd like to see that. And then Fortnite is having had a rather large event in their game. And I don't know a whole lot about this. I saw it when it got announced and I saw some news about it. And then there's this Polygon article that David, I think was it you that shared this with us?
That was on me, baby.
Yeah, absolutely not. I have no idea what the story is.
That was okay. Sorry, Matthew. I'm sorry for not crediting you.
No, it's all good. Please, thank you for the credit. I need all of it.
But this Polygon article is really interesting, and it made it really sound like a big event and like an interesting experiment in digital concert type experiences.
Yeah, it was a Travis Scott concert inside of Fortnite.
Oh.
And I don't know really what I was expecting. I thought it would just be your character, your avatar, and then there'd be other avatars and it'd be Travis Scott like playing. But it's so strange of what they did with the game. You have to go watch the video of someone recording it and viewing this concert because like Travis Scott becomes really giant and then the world transforms and gravity decreases. You can jump real high. And then when a song change, you're underwater. And then the song changes again, you're in space.
Hell yeah.
It's like a theme park ride / concert / digital event. It's something else. It's pretty cool.
Just so everyone knows, this is the new normal. This is the world we live in now, and we all just have to live with that.
I think that's what's so interesting about it is that like people are trying to figure out how to have interesting digital events like this, and one of the first ones is in Fortnite that's revolutionary or whatever.
They're taking a battle royale game and making it a concert venue.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Panzer Dragoon remake got an update, and I know there was a lot of criticism of this remake when it first came out for a lot of reasons. It kind of didn't live up to the hype. Does this update sound like it's going to fix some of those issues?
Well, so just to correct you slightly, the update hasn't come out yet. The update was announced. So basically, Panzer Dragoon, if you're not aware, was originally a Sega Saturn game, and it was shown off in a Nintendo Direct a while ago that it was getting a remake that was coming first to the Switch. It was kind of a timed exclusivity thing. But when the game came out, it was marred with bugs. It was basically very clearly rushed to market. It was like, I think it was capped at 30 frames per second and sometimes went down even below that. Had issues all over the place with like the aiming and the way that you would turn. And Panzer Dragoon is kind of like a Star Fox style on-rail shooter game. But they recently just came out and said that over the next couple months, I don't think they have an exact release date for it yet. I think probably because of the virus, but they're going to be adding tons of stuff that everybody was complaining about that's missing. So HD rumble, it's going to be at 60 frames per second. The input latency is reduced. They're adding gyro controls. The sound effects are being reworked. They're adding a whole new game mode, new cheat codes. Options are accessible from the pause menu. Basically, like tons of stuff that should have just shipped with the game, they're going to be releasing down the line. And I know a lot of people personally that didn't buy the game because they'd heard so many terrible things about the performance. And so hopefully this comes out and actually gives people a reason to buy it. I'm thinking about picking it up once this comes out, but I haven't picked it up yet either.
And then out of nowhere, game Indivisible RPG. I don't know a whole lot about this game. Indivisible role playing game. It's like an anime role playing game. Got released, just kind of dropped digitally available on Switch as well as some other platforms too, I believe.
Yeah, so Indivisible is a game that I've actually been looking forward to for a while. It's like a side-scrolling, like hand-drawn anime-inspired RPG, and it looks gorgeous. If you haven't seen any footage from this game, please look it up. It actually looks amazing, and I'm really excited that it is out today. But this was a surprise to the developers of the game. Mike Zamont, who is I'm blanking on the name of the actual developer right now.
Lab Zero Games?
Yeah, thank you. Mike Zamont of Lab Zero Games posted on Twitter that unbeknownst to us, Indivisible is now out on the Switch. It didn't even have a release date listed before that. I think it was maybe supposed to come to other platforms first, or at least they weren't aware. But the publisher 505 Games just dropped it without talking to them. And I thought that this was a pretty funny and very strange story. Apparently, it's an earlier build, too, that they never intended to go to market. So it's like lacking co-op, and the eShop art is the wrong image. And
wow.
And he was like, this launch does not represent the quality standards of Lab Zero. You know what I mean? They had no PR lead up to it or anything like that. So they're all kind of just confused as to what happened. And I think this isn't the first time it's happened with 505 either. Like they published Bloodstained, which had a very notorious launch. Was also very bug ridden. So it's a little weird to see this happen. But still check out the game because it looks pretty incredible.
It does look, the visuals do look really cool. The art.
Yeah. Beautiful hand-drawn animation.
And then another beautiful game, Deadly Premonition 2. Got a release date. It's a Switch exclusive. I know a couple of Switch heads are real excited about this game. Coming out July 10th. I think Brian Bonnet and
Michael Cavanaugh.
Michael Cavanaugh, yeah. They were in particular the ones I remember. This is like it's like the sort of game it's based on Twin Peaks, right?
Yeah, it was
the first one.
It was originally pitched as a Twin Peaks game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. very strange game to get a sequel on the Switch, but it's pretty cool that it's coming to the Switch. I'm excited.
And then 2K announced there's going to be like an arcade style WWE game coming out. I think that they've said it's coming out for the Switch. I was seeing the news around Switch stuff. So if you're into that, I much prefer arcade style sports games personally.
The real story here is that WWE 2K20 is not going to exist. That game has been canceled. It was going to come out this year, but the last one got so much flack because it was a total buggy, broken mess. And I guess it wasn't up to the standards of release, so they canceled the game and are now have a different team working on a more cartoony version. They kind of look like little people wrestling, which is really awkward.
The art does not appeal to me for that game.
Well, it's like a wrestling NBA Jam.
It does look basically like that. But not just big heads, but like weird bodies too.
Yeah. Like they literally look like little people.
I guess awkward. It's good to hear them say they're getting away from the yearly release. I feel like that's a stupid thing that sports games do, that EA and 2K does. I mean, I get why they do it. It's a cash cow, right?
Yeah. I think everybody was expecting this anyway. Like they didn't advertise on WrestleMania that there was a new game coming, and they usually do. And I mean, I think a lot of it probably has to do with the pandemic, but also like, I think that they just weren't ready, and the last game was trash, and this one didn't look to be any better, so they just canceled it. So hopefully this strange arcade title will be a little bit better and hold people over.
And then we've been talking about this game. It's obviously not a Switch or Nintendo game. The Last of Us 2 is a big upcoming video game for PlayStation. And we've kind of talked about the development of this game a little bit on the show. And so following up on that, there was a huge leak online spreading spoilers for the story of the game, which is just such a big part of the game, right? That's why a lot of people love The Last of Us, is the story. And allegedly, or the rumor is that it was a disgruntled employee of Naughty Dog that leaked this out, somebody who hadn't gotten paid or something like that.
I think a QA tester, you had said, Matt. Was that ever verified?
Yeah, I think that was never verified, other than a couple people confirming it on Twitter.
So I personally have not looked at any of these spoilers because I don't really want to be spoiled on that. But have y'all read any of the spoilers or looked at them at all?
I haven't read anything on purpose, trying to avoid all story spoilers, but I've heard general ideas of,
it's hard to avoid that.
The response is, mostly negative, but that's coming from like the Gamergate population.
Yeah, they're not happy with anything.
Anything that involves a female, like
right?
A woman in the story gets them upset. So, hey, the internet's doing an okay job of not letting this spoiler get out. I feel like I haven't been forced to see it.
I guess it depends on where you go, right? I mean,
that's probably true.
The leaks are out there, so if you see anything that even looks like it might have spoilers, I would just avoid it if you're trying to stay clean, because those probably are the real things that actually happen in the game, including a lot of footage. So be careful out there.
And then Sony finally gave a release date for the game because, as you may recall, it had been kind of pushed back, most likely, we believe, due to production issues for physical copies, to June 19th now is the release date. And then also Sony said that Ghost of Tsushima will be coming out July 17th. So for those of our listeners that also play PlayStation, that's a 1-2 punch right there in the summer. 2 big games to look forward to there.
I think this begs a pretty big question here. And that's, do you think, because Sony released the release date for this game maybe 6 hours after everything was leaked. Right. Do you think that those are related?
It definitely feels related in terms of the timing. They wanted to maybe overshadow that news or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do wonder if there's going to be a physical release of those games.
At this simultaneously?
Mm-hmm.
I think everything that Sony said would appear to be that it is going to be a simultaneous digital and physical release. It's just a little weird. I feel like it's, they had just, it was supposed to come out in April, right? And then, right? Or was it May? I think it was April or maybe in March. But anyway, it was pushed back. And before they also said it's being delayed indefinitely, right? And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, it's coming out next month, essentially. So the timing just definitely seemed like they wanted to minimize the amount of time that people might see these spoilers.
Totally. And then this isn't super credible, but while we're talking about leaks, there was a 4chan leak a long time ago about Smash Brothers Ultimate DLC, where somebody had said there would be a League of Legends representative coming to the Smash game in the second pass. And the reason we are now giving this some credence is that they also at the same time said there would be a Legends of Mana Spirit event that did end up happening, right? Just this past week they announced that. So that gives some credence there. We'll see. That would be a weird representative and for sure.
I don't think I want that.
Yeah. I don't think I want it either, but it is one of the biggest video games in the world. So I could see that argument.
Yeah. That'd be like adding a Fortnite rep into Smash.
Yeah, you know? Totally.
Or a Rocket League car.
Okay, for the record, I'd like to say that I would much prefer a Rocket League car to a League of Legends character in Smash.
I mean, there was that Sega fighting game which had the NASCAR from Daytona.
Oh, did it really? Wait, how did that work?
It was the tires were the arms and the legs, for that matter.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. I think like that's a pretty specific thing, I guess, to be like, hey, Trials of Mana. I mean, maybe they could have just seen that Trials of Mana was coming out and they were like, that would be a pretty good way for Nintendo to advertise that game on their platform.
This post was from January, and Nintendo has been pushing Trials of Mana real hard. So
since last year.
Yeah. So it would have been a reasonable just stab in the dark. They also suggest that there'll be like a Hollow Knight Mii costume and some other stuff too.
Okay. So, that would be lit.
Yeah. That also seems possible. So it could be just another stab in the dark, but
yeah, it just feels like we're going to get more Smash news soon because it's been 3 months since Byleth.
Yeah, we have to wait till June to get the ARMS character, which isn't that far away, honestly. So
it's just as close as Last of Us 2. Last of Us 2 rep for Smash confirmed.
And then because we got to talk about it every week, we got to talk about Animal Crossing, right?
Oh yeah,
this will be our last news item. In general, the sales of Animal Crossing are just crazy. In Japan, the last week that we have numbers for, which is like April 13 through 19, it was at the top of the charts again in Japan, and they've sold over 3.5 million physical copies in Japan alone. And then there's that company Super Data, which is like kind of like the Nielsen company that studies digital downloads of things and stuff, and they think that there were over 5 million digital sales of the game in March, and say that it was the biggest console digital launch ever. So this game's going to be huge in terms of its numbers whenever we finally get those Nintendo numbers in May, I think. And then there was a data mine of the game, which suggests that Dream Suite is returning in this version and New Horizons. I've never played the previous Animal Crossing games, so I don't know a lot about Dream Suite, but I think it's like you can go and tour somebody's island when they're not there. Is the idea to kind of show off your island? And
it's basically like a snapshot of a moment on your island that then anyone can go to, right? It's like you can't mess with anything. It's just kind of like a little tour that you can give of your island that anyone can access at any point.
I'm just warning everyone that I'm coming to your island and I'm going to water your goddamn flowers.
Even if it does nothing, it's the fun that counts.
Hell yeah, it doesn't matter, man.
This is from Ninji, who's a data miner, and they showed off some of the things they found in the code, which make it seem very believable. And there was some speculation that this might even be how Nintendo intends to do like their sort of cloud saves of the game, that it might be simultaneous with that's where they store that information.
It's like that moment in time is saved and then you can back it up at different moments. That makes sense, I suppose. I I mean, we should trust Ninja on this stuff. I mean, Ninja totally nailed all the data mining when it came to like Red and all the art stuff and the museum expansion and stuff like that in Animal Crossing. Like that was all data mined by Ninja. It doesn't necessarily obviously mean that this is going to happen. This could be like scrapped content, but this showed up since the last update. So
yeah,
this is probably going to happen.
And they show off like the functions and stuff that in images, it just looks very likely.
Yeah. Andrew, you've held off on Animal Crossing up to this point. What's it going to take for you to get into Animal Crossing?
It's a good question. I don't know what it would take. I'm sad that I'm not playing it.
Do you have FOMO?
I got FOMO. I got maybe even a little bit of a regret. But I didn't play the first. I haven't played it before. I haven't really played a game like that. I don't even know if there are kind of other. I guess there's something like Stardew Valley is maybe kind of like Animal Crossing, but
kind of.
I definitely haven't played something in the realm of the genre. And I was a little too timid. I didn't take the plunge. And as I've said to you before, I think I have a slight feeling of having missed the boat. I mean, I don't know about how you guys feel about that.
I mean, my sister recently got the game after having not gotten it for like the first few weeks of it being out, and she's still having a very good time. So much of a good time, in fact, that she has to physically put it away where she can't get to it because she's really addicted to it.
Well, I'm taking the game pretty slow, Andrew, and there are some people like in our Switch Headz groups and stuff that are doing quite the opposite. Mm-hmm. And so I think if you got on the game today and sunk some hours into it, you could at least catch up with me pretty quick.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, plenty of us can just like make all the tools that you need and give you bells and give you iron, and you'd be like starting off. It would like cut off like 10 hours of that.
Right, totally.
Yeah. Yeah, new Animal Crossing players at this point are like damsels in distress that like players of Animal Crossing since day one can't wait to White Knight for. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, please let me like give you all my ladders.
Well, hey, maybe finding out that I would be a damsel is all that it will take.
You'd be a very special pretty.
No one told me I was going to be such a beautiful woman. Give me a copy.
Well, with that, maybe we should take a break, and then we'll talk about Mario Maker 2 and the damsel in distress peach that they added to the update for the world builder when we come back after this short break.
Knock it out of the park every time.
And we are back to talk about Mario Maker 2. Super Mario Maker 2 came out for the Switch June 2019 last year. And we're coming up on 1 year since the game came out. And it just received a quote unquote final major update on April 23rd, which added a ton of power-ups. Some new enemies and the much requested world builder. So we're going to dive into the game and talk about the update and also kind of just talk about the game in general a year after release. How do we feel about it? And that kind of stuff. So obviously we got to start with like the update, just first impressions. How does everybody feel about this quote unquote final major update?
Yeah, you've been playing this update, Andrew?
I have. Yeah, I haven't played it a ton. It's been out, like a week or something like that.
Yeah, just about.
I was so psyched about it though. I've been wanting World Maker. Has been like my number one wish for this game. And now it's here. I never played Mario Maker 1. I'm not the most OG player of Mario Maker, but yeah, that it was just something that I was always just mind boggled that wasn't kind of in the game, like some way, whether it was an overworld thing like this, or even just like a playlist, some way to group your levels together. And I'm just so psyched that it's here.
Yeah. I mean, as someone who did play Mario Maker 1, I can also say that I'm equally psyched. I think everybody, even when Mario Maker 1 came out, are like, why is there no world builder? Why is there no overworld or way to kind of sequentially play your levels? So this is pretty massive. It's pretty great that it's come out now.
So we'll dig into the world builder maybe in a minute, but before we get into sort of the things that were in the update, what do you guys think about this idea of this being the final major update? Just, is that disappointing? Do you think that obviously they are leaving some room by saying major, but do you think that means there will be anything other than just kind of like, bug fixes and that kind of stuff?
I don't. We always talk about the styles, like the world styles.
Yeah.
Just because it's pluralized in the game.
And, I played the game a lot recently and I was making levels, and it's just the way they framed that extra styles with that just one big fat empty spot. It's like it's a real weird decision if they're not going to do it.
I mean, you would think if they added another style, that would be a pretty major update.
Yeah.
Right.
I think we're not getting that at this point.
Yeah. So I actually haven't looked in the actual course builder since the update came out. Have you, Patrick?
Yeah, it's still there.
Is styles like centered, or is like the 3D world centered, or is there
no,
still
it's
like
not.
a massive
There's still
open
the
spot?
big fat spot. That's why I'm like, man, I was looking at it just the other day and I'm like, God, because I was, it's been so long since I'd really paid attention to that
Right.
I was like, I can see that maybe we all thought that that's what that meant because it's pluralized, but it's not just that it's plural. It's that there is a huge freaking spot that fits perfectly one more style.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of theories going around as to why that is. I think one that gets parroted a lot is that this game, I think as far as Nintendo's standards are concerned, I think that this game underperformed a little bit with what they wanted it to do. I mean, Mario Maker was kind of a runaway hit on the Wii U, and I think they just thought that you take the number of people that owned a Wii U and then the number of people that have a Switch, and the like attach rates would just kind of move right over. And that didn't really seem to happen. So I think that like potentially they had more updates in mind, but not enough people are maybe playing the game for them to warrant adding a whole brand new style. I mean, do you have any thoughts about that?
It's really weird. Like, the game has now, we should talk about this. We're kind of jumping around some of the notes, but that's great. The game has sold over 5 million units. The last like official sales number we got. That's not bad.
No,
I can definitely see there is this sort of, I hear this talked about a lot on the internet that, I thought this game was going to make a bigger splash than it did, or I thought we'd see more stuff than it did. But and I've said this before, even on this podcast, I think the idea of Mario Maker itself was part of that excitement. So the first one got that, and now this is just a continuation of it that doesn't have that same enormous immediate effect. But I think that 5 million sales is great, and this is update definitely, at least anecdotally, there's been some Switch heads who have bought this game since this update that we've been
since
playing
3.0.
Yeah. So I think it's gonna.
It was Amir who bought it. Was like, I'm going to regret this, but I'm having so much fun.
I think you said our hype is infectious.
Yeah. I mean, I think that saying major leaves some room for them to do a couple little things beyond just patches, because I think it leaves the room for maybe an extra power up or an extra little bit of this and that. But I'm not sure why. It's just I think their updates in this game have been really weird. Like, the fact that was such a huge update. And I think if they had trickled updates out slower with a little bit more, that might have been a better strategy. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think maybe that was their plan. I think that it's pretty obvious to me, at least, that like, I feel like the last style was going to be a Super Mario Brothers 2 style, right? And that's where this kind of Super Mario 2 mushroom power up came from, and that was probably originally going to be a whole thing. And they were like, well, why are we going to put a whole team on this to create like a style if like necessary? Because we don't have all the data as far as like the actual player base is concerned right now. Like, yeah, we know sales, but like maybe not all those people are still playing the game. You know what I mean?
I'm sure they're not.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly am. Andrew, I know you are, because I see you on Mario Maker all the time on your Switch. But it's like, sorry to throw you under the bus there. Oh, sure. But it's like, I definitely, it feels like a little bit of a wasted opportunity, but it's hard to kind of also like be too doom and gloomy about it, because like in addition to the world builder, like there was so much added to this, and it's like it really is a great update, and it adds so much.
Well, let's talk about that then. Obviously, there's the power-ups. That Super Mario 2 one is the big one for me. That's so cool. And I think it does. I can see the argument of like why I've created a whole new style for this, because we could just drop it into Super Mario 1 and that's pretty much one and done. Like easier thing to do. The ability to pick up and ride on all these enemies is so cool. I haven't found a lot of levels that utilize it to the full extent yet, but I know that a lot of these power-ups we're going to see more stuff over the next month or two.
Yeah. Have you guys watched any videos of like Kaizo levels with Super Mario Brothers 2 mushrooms in them yet?
Yes.
Some of that shit is absolutely insane, and it really does change a lot. It just changes the whole style of the game, because basically with the Super Mario Brothers 2 mushroom, when you jump on enemies, they don't die and you don't get hurt. I mean, I guess like spiny enemies you still do. Like you can't jump on thwomps, right?
Yeah,
but like
or whatever. Yeah.
Anything else, you just kind of ride as you go until you pick it up and throw it, which really changes a lot of the gameplay mechanics. Have you had a chance to mess around with the Mario Brothers 2 mushroom, Andrew?
I have a little bit. I haven't like really worked through, some crazy level or anything with it. I've seen a couple videos, and it definitely seems awesome. I saw like Pooh Bear's first big level that he made with it.
It's really fun, and then it's also really difficult to like switch your brain between like the two different styles. Like if there's a level where you're both regular Mario and Super Mario Brothers 2 Mario, like I just totally fuck up so badly, because it's completely different play styles.
It is.
Yeah. Speaking of brain switching, and another like the I'm super psyched about the Super Mario Brothers 2 mushroom, and I'm also pretty psyched about the hats type power ups in 3D world style.
3D world.
And it's pretty cool. I've played a couple levels that you kind of like daisy chain the power ups together, and kind of like alternate between like the bullet bill hat and the propeller hat, which has a similar kind of like mind melting effect a little bit, because all of those new power ups, the propeller hat, the bullet hat, and the cannonball hat,
and the POW block.
Yeah, and the POW block. Well, I guess except for the POW block, all the other three use unique buttons to trigger the effects.
Oh, right.
Like the propeller hat is the trigger, the cannonball is the run button, and the bullet bill is the jump button. So it definitely makes for some like very fast paced kind of mind melting levels, and definitely makes me psyched to play some more 3D world, which has up to this point probably been my least enjoyed style.
I'd probably agree.
I would too. And I do think it does add a lot more interesting stuff into 3D world to have these power-ups.
The propeller hat in particular really reminds me a lot of Celeste, because the way, like I've seen a lot of levels and I've played a few of them where like, because you basically have three kind of like thrusts upward with the propeller hat before until you hit the ground. Just like in Celeste, like when you land in Celeste, your jumps recharge, or when you like touch a feather or something that's in the air. So it kind of like has you darting up to these different spots, and then touching the recharge ability to then give you like an extra little boost to get to the end of the stage. And it's made for some really creative levels so far. And I'd love to see that chained together with a lot of this other stuff like you were talking about, Andrew.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Another power up that totally breaks my brain is in the Super Mario World style, the P balloon.
Yeah.
The way that controls is
oh my gosh,
not what I was imagining. When I saw
the directional input for that is really weird.
It took me way too long to figure that out. I thought my controller was broken. I almost restarted my Switch. I think I quit the current level that I was playing and had to come back to a different P balloon level to figure it out.
Yeah, because it's like it's not like it doesn't turn your body based on the direction. it's not like if you press left or right, it's going to like turn you to the left or turn you to the right. It like moves the character into whatever direction you're pressing, which is really counterintuitive, but also
it is
also like kind of cool. Like when you're playing like really precise levels, it makes it easier to move around than if you were like having to stop and do kind of tank controls. But yeah, it's definitely a learning curve.
It's easier, like you said, but it's not what you expect. So that makes it harder. And I still have a hard time with it every time I get on one of those. And then they also added a couple other power-ups we haven't talked about, like the boomerang suit in 3D World, which I have only barely played anything with, and the frog suit and the Super Mario Bros. 3 style. Have y'all messed around with either of those?
The only thing I've done is run on water with a frog suit. That's all I want to do.
It's the only thing you need to do.
That's a brand new ability. That's not something you could do in Super Mario Bros. 3, so that's pretty cool. It's awkward, I think.
Yeah.
But still pretty cool.
It is cool.
I really like the boomerang. The boomerang kind of allows for a lot of cool stuff too with clear pipes, because it goes through the clear pipes and then will come out the other end and then still come back to you, which is a really cool feature. And that's probably the one I've used the least, but it's pretty cool to see it in like a 2D style, because the boomerang has never been in a 2D style before that Mario.
And that reminded me too, because they showed this in the trailer but didn't say it, that now they have in 3D World regular on-off blocks too, which
huge
is a good addition that was kind of missing from 3D World, which is one of the reasons I didn't like it as much.
Yeah, it's very weird to me that those weren't in it up to this point. You know, it was like kind of a big game changer about Super Mario Maker 2 versus Super Mario Maker 1. That and slopes, obviously.
And then, aside from power-ups, we also got Koopalings, was one of the other big things. All the Koopalings are in the game now, and it's really fun to see their sprites and all the different styles, because they weren't always in all those games originally.
Are they in 3D World?
No, I don't believe so.
That's a bummer.
But have y'all played much with levels with them? My son has become really interested in Mario Maker again since this update, and has been playing it a lot, and just made a really spammy Koopaling level. It's brutal when it's some real fun enemy spam. If you throw a bunch of Koopalings at you, they're all shooting in different ways. And
yeah, I've already played a couple bullet hell Koopaling spam levels that are rough.
Yeah.
I do like though that they all have kind of different projectiles, or at least have different like paths that the projectiles go on. It makes it to where you can do like a bullet hell level that's not just piranha plants firing
totally
like fire at you. You know what I mean? It like makes it a little more, you have to think on your feet. And it's like a great update to pair with the World Maker, because now it's like each world can have its own unique boss instead of like different flavors of Boom Boom or Bowser Jr. or whatever. Yeah, and that's really nice. It's been kind of unfortunate as I've been playing a lot of these worlds, because these are all like, most of the worlds that are out now that are like completed have already been done for a long time. They just didn't have like a framework to put them in, so a lot of the bosses are still Boom Booms. But I'm very excited to play more worlds with these new bosses.
That's the thing about this update in general. Right now, we're just a week in, with all these power ups and all these new parts and stuff. It really does take a little while for it to filter in and people to figure out the way they interact. So hopefully this will continue to evolve, and the world will get some cool worlds with all this stuff. But you're right, the Koopalings do pair super well with the world builder, and I think that alone would have been an amazing update. And that's why it feels weird that they didn't have these power ups in a previous update or something, or stretch this out or something. But maybe they just couldn't get it done in time.
Circling back to the power-ups, I was just looking at Grand Pooh Bear on Twitch, and making a Super Mario Maker 2 level. And what he ended up using with the Super Mario Bros. 2 power-up is for vertical cannonballs that you just ride it for a really long time to get vertical space. And it seems like a really cool way to like traverse a level.
DCD Switch Head in our Discord channel made a level kind of like that, where it's like 10 or something balls that all go up at once, and you have to kind of like pick which ones you want to grab and throw at the enemies on the side. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. And then they also added more tags to the game. They didn't say this in the trailer or anything, but this is great and something that should have been there since the beginning. A single player tag, which was been missing from the ability to tag your level as just single player, which now eliminates it from going into the multiplayer pool. So that's a huge thing that should have been there since the beginning, but glad they have it now. It's going to hopefully clean up the multiplayer online a little bit. And they added a bunch of other tags too, which kind of makes sense. Some stuff that should have been there, like shooter. There's art, which I like that one. And there's boss battle now, which would have been a nice one to have. And now we have link tag, which they probably should have added with link, but whatever. And I'm still mad that there's no clarity on the multiplayer. There's just this multiplayer tag, and yet the game makes a big deal about being both versus and co-op. So why we can't make a co-op or a versus level and tag it, I don't know.
Yeah. Patrick is especially mad about this because he loves making levels for two kids in a big code.
Yes. And just like they've made a big deal about the co-op when they showed this game off at E3 last year, they had a co-op level. Like that, it's really cool what you can do with co-op in this game. And it's not ever done because nobody wants to play co-op because of the way they put it into the game, and because there's no way to find co-op levels.
Yeah, but that's something that's just that's one of the that's like such a head scratcher. It seems so simple, so obvious, and it's just like, why? You know?
I mean, that's like Nintendo in a nutshell.
Yeah, it is.
Like they're brilliant in so many ways, and they take so many chances and try so many things, but they're just kind of like, I don't want to say dumb, but like really dumb.
It's the quality of life stuff like that. It's like Nintendo is super brilliant, and then they won't do what seems very intuitive and, like you said, head scratching quality of life stuff. They'll make a brilliant game with the two bad things are always quality of life and online, and that's true for this game too.
Yeah, I think all Nintendo of Japan employees just already have a really high quality of life, so they don't need these improvements. They have like great benefits and shit.
Well, we've talked about some of these things in the notes, but do you think that if this really is the major or final major update, is there anything y'all wish had been part of this update or some other update that we never got? Anything you're itching for?
Yeah, I got something right off the bat. Like, something that's missing from Mario Maker 2 that Mario Maker 1 had, and worked really, really well is like a website where you can like bookmark levels. Like, that's not something like the search on Mario Maker 1 was also garbage, but somehow Mario Maker 2's search is even worse. But Mario Maker 1 fixed this by like basically having a little site that you could like basically type in a code that you would find levels online or through the site. Like, you could search for stuff on the site, which is a lot more intuitive than looking for it on your Wii U. And then basically whatever you would bookmark on the app or on the website would show up in your game. And they kind of spoke to each other, right? And that I just like don't understand why the Nintendo Switch Online app is not being used for this. Because it's like what they do with all the other games. It's like Animal Crossing has its own thing. Smash has its own thing. Splatoon has its own thing. Like,
it would make so much sense.
Like such a no-brainer. And I really wish they would do this because, I mean, it's not that hard to like write down a code and then like put it into your Switch, but it's like, it does save a ton of time. And I think that a lot more people would play the game if, or would at least stick with it if it was really easy to play stuff like that, especially with Worlds now too.
Yeah. Like what kind of search functions did it have that made it superior?
Well, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Well, I don't know if any of you played it on Wii U, but like, I thought you could actually search by keyword like back then, which not by keyword, but by like titles. Right. And not only that, it was like, it would show you like related styles, like in the app, and you could scroll through it all like really quickly and easily and pick stuff based on that. And I think it would also show you likes, how many people have played and stuff like that. So you could see like difficulty, how popular it is. It was just a lot easier to like sift through the garbage basically on the app. And I say app, but I think it was just like a mobile site that you could visit. And so, yeah, I really wish they would add stuff like that into this. I think that potentially could be a non-major update, but at this point, it really does feel like they're kind of done with the game.
Yeah. I think they missed out in not adding like extra courses or levels to the story mode and or sort of pre-made courses for the maker mode when they added all these updates. Like, why not give us a few courses to inspire some ideas?
Right.
And to extend the story mode a little bit and to bring people back to that. I just don't, I'm surprised they didn't do that. I wasn't one of these people at first, but I've kind of come into this camp of also feeling like those Link and Mario 2 mushroom power-ups really should be like separate styles or modes or something.
Really? Why do you think that?
I didn't feel that way about Link as much. Everybody kept saying, I wish it was a Link and you had 2 hearts or something like that. Right. Like, and you could just start and die as Link. But I think I've really started to feel that with the Mario 2 mushroom, for the reason that you're talking about, David, being that it's so brain breaking that like I will get hit and then lose that ability. And then,
sure.
Whereas I felt like with Link, it was more intuitive because you're still kind of playing like Mario. You just have these extra powers. And I think I'm like, man, every time I lose that Mario 2 mushroom and then have to restart the level, that's frustrating, where it feels like,
right.
Yeah, I didn't feel that way with Link as much.
I think like to that point is if maybe you've been making like Mario Maker 2 levels for an entire year, like changing your existing levels to work with Super Mario Brothers 2, the power up. Like if you even added that to an existing level, it would break your level.
Yeah,
totally.
For multiple ways. And maybe that's part of the reason why is because it changes the mechanics of the game so much that it breaks other levels or existing levels, or maybe a Super Mario Maker 2 creator who's really used to making levels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's just like basically in order to make it work, you just have to put those power-ups everywhere, right? Or like have a pipe or something that pops them out automatically. So like if you do lose it, you can continue on to the next part because that's how the level's built, Which
is weird for a couple of reasons. Aesthetically, it bothers me, which is minor. But like also then you're just basically giving people extra you know what I mean? It's like it takes away the challenge in some ways too. I don't know. It's an imperfect solution to a problem they kind of created, I think. But those are some of the things
Are we still on things that should be added?
Yeah, if you got anything else before we move on.
More music. I think that like Mario Galaxy has like one song. Mario 64 has one song. You know what I mean? Like why not? Like I would love for them to add just like a fuck ton of different Mario songs. Yeah. Like imagine like doing an underwater level with Dire Dire Docks. You know what I mean?
Man,
like that would
awesome.
be so cool. And it would really like make the game feel less samey.
Yes.
Like I love the Super Mario Brothers 2 music, and I love that it pops up anytime I have the power up. But like there are a lot of great songs in Super Mario Brothers 2.
Yeah.
It's not just that. So I'd love just more music in general and more like ways to customize that aren't just like strange men going oh or whatever.
Yeah. That's a good call. The ability to pick the music would be
like
really
to that point. We talked about like quality of life stuff, like consistency in design. Like Nintendo put so many new songs in Smash Ultimate. Like almost all songs from a certain series is in
I think every song that's been written to this point is
yeah.
Well, tons
Fleetwood
of Mario
Mac
songs
is on there. Rush is on Smash Ultimate.
Huey Lewis and the
Mancala.
News.
Yeah, Huey Lewis Sports, a great album. Just like because you expect as a player to have all these songs, you would maybe expect to have more songs than what's available in Super Mario Maker 2.
Yeah. There's just so many great songs from like all the Mario games. I'd love to just hear a bunch of those.
Just how about Steam Gardens?
Yeah. Steam Gardens. We got Gusty.
Yeah.
Where's Steam? Yeah.
Well, we've talked a lot about the update. We should talk just kind of about the game generally and kind of where it's at and how are you guys still playing it a lot and how we feel about the game almost a year later and that kind of stuff. So like now that we've got the final major update, maybe we can compare it also to Mario Maker 1. Like, are there things how are y'all feeling about the game in general right now?
Yeah, I feel like this update with the World Maker just reinvigorated the fan base, and people are making levels again. More people are streaming on Twitch. More people are online playing Super Mario Maker, and it just shows Nintendo's support of their software, which is really good.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I still love the game. Like, we've been kind of a little down on it this discussion, I think. Like, just with some things, just because it's the final one, and I guess we wish there was some more things. But like, the World Maker is like fucking clutch, I think. And I think that if World Maker had been in the game at the beginning, I think that this game would have sold a lot more copies. Because like the main thing I hear from people when they, for reasons why they didn't buy this game, is they're like, oh, well, I'm not really good at like really hard Mario levels. But it's like, if you play the worlds, like the majority of them aren't like that. You know, the majority of worlds that I've played that are like full worlds with like 32 or even 40 levels in them, like have a good, you know, kind of ramp up in difficulty and
a little
and
more
made in
traditional,
more of a classic. Yeah, more traditional. And that's, you know, I think even to this day, I think Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe has sold more than Mario Maker 2. And I think that's because people just want standard Mario experiences, right? They want to like have their lives carry over, and they want to have a world map, and they want to do all this stuff. And like, people just don't want to be bothered like looking up levels or going online to like find what the good stuff is. So I think this is an amazing update. And I personally have been playing it a ton just to play the world update. Cause I already followed people that posted like, you know, 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, 1-4, and their kind of friends, their levels thing is just filled with worlds already. So this just makes it so much easier to play all that stuff. And it gives you like a reason to pick up lives. You know what I mean? Cause you want to like carry over for the harder levels.
And to grab coins. And as a maker, it makes you want to think about those things too, right? Like, whereas before, like, you put coins in for endless, I guess, but like, I don't know if people are really gonna. It was hard to design a level for endless, but it's easier to design a level for worlds. I feel like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of endless levels. You just throw the kind of customary 3-1-ups at the end, perhaps.
Right.
I mean, I'm still. So psyched on the game. It's just an you know, even before the update, the game was amazing. Expanding on stuff from Mario Maker 1 that is it was just so awesome. It's a Mario fan's dream. You know, it's still an infinite Mario game that is also just like exploded it into these like new genres of Mario levels. Like there's so many different genres that are so kind of like deep with their own like metas and stuff, like troll levels, you know, whether you like them or not. I enjoy a good troll level. You know, speed running stuff, Kaizo stuff. It's just like, it's I just love the game, you know. I just love it.
I do too. I do too.
Why? I mean, you've kind of talked about it there, Andrew, but yeah, like we've been kind of negative on stuff, but like, why do we love this game? You know, like you said, there's all these different styles. It's Mario fans' dream. Is there anything else? You know, what keeps you coming back, and why is it one of your favorite games? And what do you like to do too? Like, do you like endless? Do you like making?
That was going to be my question. Yeah, it's like, what's the main way that you play the game, Andrew?
There's a few things that I love to do. I've gone through kind of phases. I went through a long phase where I was like combing the news section. I was like, I'm going to do, you know, it's like combing the news section on Reddit. You feel like you're doing a little bit of digging through the trash for the greater good.
Well, it's a risky move.
I like to do that too, Andrew. I still do it. Yeah. When I'm bored, I'll go to new, and 90% of it sucks. But I think the fact that I'm the first person to play it makes me like it more. You know what I mean? Like, I get to give it.
You're like buying Apple stock in 1980 or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like you said, I get to give it the first boo or like or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Patrick, I think you just like power.
I didn't mean to cut you off though, Andrew. You saying what else? You've gone through phases. So do you play online much? Do you like co-op or versus or anything like that?
So I've never played random co-op. That's like the one thing I've never really done. I've played a little bit of co-op, like with David. We played co-op for little bit. I have dabbled in multiplayer versus, which I love. Obviously, has the glaring issue of often brutal lag. But I still kind of love it. It's the lag makes it so kind of frustrating, but in a way that is then you're so frustrated that it's then still really satisfying when you win.
That's the Nintendo way.
And you're talking about, new ways to experience Mario. Versus is a totally new Mario experience that changes the game with the keys and the like clear conditions and stealing it from each other and camping and that kind of stuff. It's such an interesting dynamic.
It's like half the time it works really, really well. And it's like a mad dash race, and it's like you're throwing shells at each other to get ahead. And it's like, there's like a good meta, to like, do I stay behind and get the power up, or do I rush forward and have that kind of risk of potentially getting hurt and having to start back over from the beginning? And it's really balanced in a lot of ways. But then equally as much, you'll get to an area where it's just 4 people all trying to get into one door, and one person has a key, and it's just fucking chaos. Like all of a sudden, and then it's like everything that you've like trained for, you just throw out the window because it's just a bunch of people acting like total animals trying to get to the end.
David, that's exactly what happened to us. I had that key on that level, and you were so mad at me, dude.
Hey, man, I was feigning anger for the entertainment.
I loved it, dude. It was so much fun.
What about you, David? Like, do you really what's your primary go-to if you were like going to fire up Mario Maker? Do you go to playing like popular levels, or like following creators
First thing I do when I boot up Mario Maker is I go to the like starred list of the people that I'm following, basically to see like if any of my friends have new levels, right? Like I love to play your levels, Patrick, and I played a lot of your levels as well, Andrew. That one I still haven't beaten because I got so far, that like red coin challenge level that you had that took me like an hour and a half.
It's pretty messed up.
I lost at the very end. Yeah, it's pretty messed up, but it is fun in its chaos. But so the first thing I do is usually that. Then I'll usually play a little bit of like Endless Expert. But I mean, recently what I've been doing is like straight up just playing these worlds. Like I'm always on the look for new worlds. I've been playing one recently. It's called, I think, well, I'll have to open it, but it's like the Forgotten Levels or something like that.
Yeah.
It's all, DCD shared it in the, we've given him a couple shout outs, this episode, but he's been in the Mario Maker channel of our Discord, but he shared it with me, and it's all done in the original Super Mario Brothers style, and it's kind of in the style of Lost Worlds, or not Lost Worlds, the Lost Levels. It's kind of in the style of that, but like even more intense and a little more Mario Maker-y, you know what I mean? But it's like, that one has been really satisfying. I've gotten like, it's 8 worlds. I'm on the very last level of the 8th world, and I had everything kind of like, I hadn't had a game over yet up to this point, and then I got to the very last level, and I've been dying a lot on it. But I figured out how to do it now. I just like need to actually get good. But nice. Yeah, man, I think that's great for me. Like a lot of my friends, like that haven't gotten the game because they want a more traditional Mario experience, I'm really like encouraging them to get it now because it makes it a lot more satisfying to play.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've talked for a while about this. I don't know. We can, if y'all are ready to move on, maybe have some final thoughts and that kind of stuff. Is there anything in the notes that we didn't get to that you wanted to talk about, or any final thoughts, or any hopes or dreams for Mario Maker 3, since this is probably the final major update?
Yeah, just like some speculation. I think we'll get more power-ups. Probably nothing as huge as World Maker, right, or any quality of life updates, but I feel like we'll get some other Nintendo character power-up similar to Link.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I'd love if they would add back in amiibo costumes. I think that would be really cool, because that was something that was really nice on the first one.
Yeah, how many amiibo costumes did they have in the Wii U?
As many amiibo as there are. It was like, maybe that's why they don't do it. They don't want to like design them.
Yeah.
There were like a shit ton of costumes you could have in the first one. Also, I'd love to see Mario 100 Mario Challenge come back.
Yeah.
As opposed to just the endless. Gives it a little bit more of a finality.
Yeah.
Whenever you finish it, you like feel good about yourself. So I feel like that wouldn't necessarily be a major thing that they could add back in that would be major to a lot of the fans of the game.
Yeah. Totally.
What about power-ups? If you could see any Nintendo franchise represented in power-up form in Mario Maker 2, what would it be?
You mean like a la Link?
You like Link?
I mean, there's several that would make sense, right? Like, I think Samus would be the easiest, maybe.
Yeah.
Samus would make sense.
I think F-Zero, but where you're a bounty hunter. Sorry, Andrew. That's an inside joke for the podcast. Yeah, I think Samus would be awesome. I think being able to turn into a ball, do your double jumps. You could have like rockets or your regular gun, or maybe you could freeze enemies to jump on them. That could be really cool. Yeah,
I'd like to see
great.
Donkey Kong too. Like maybe you can do the like slap.
Oh,
and roll.
How fucking weird would that be if like a fully CG rendered Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong are like running around in Super Mario World
like
style?
They'd probably only do it in the original Mario Brothers style, but you know, that would be cool too.
Yeah, it'd be cool if
that would be so fun.
If they do another one, if it instead of just getting added again, because now Link and SMB2 are both added to the original style, it'd be cool to have like a different major power up like that in like World or something.
Yeah, for sure. Or like even New Super Mario Brothers, because I love having the wall jump.
Yeah.
Well, with that, is that anybody got anything else they want to say about Mario Maker 2? I think I'm going to be playing this game for a while to come, especially now with this Worlds update. I'm working on a world. It's going to take a while, but
Patrick.
It's going to take a long while because it takes me a while, but it'll be there eventually.
Patrick, I'm going to comment on every single one of those levels in that world.
Is it a co-op world?
No, because you can't tag it. No.
Yeah.
And you can only upload one world, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, and talking about something that might come in updates, I wouldn't be surprised if they made that into 2 or maybe 3, and there might be some like little tweaks to the way the worlds happen and like your ability to do stuff with worlds. Wouldn't be surprised if there's some updates for those things.
I would love to see like my biggest wishes would be multi-exit levels in Worlds.
Yeah. Especially with
Good
World
call.
Maker. Yeah.
Just really like adding in all the stuff that like ROM hack creators have been doing for a long time, which is essentially what this game is supposed to be, right? It's like official ROM hacks for Mario. So,
right.
Either way, final thoughts for me. Like, I think that, I think this is an excellent game. I think, in some ways it's not quite as good as the first one, but in so many more ways it is, just with the sheer breadth of different abilities that you can do, and just having, if it was just slopes added to this game, it would already be a better game than the first one. You know what I mean? I think this is an excellent game, and I think that this is a really good reason to pick it up if you've been holding off to this point. So I'd love to see some more people playing it online.
Cool. Well, if there's nothing else, then we will take a very quick break and be back to talk about what games we've been playing recently. Who wants to go first? Who's excited to share what they've been playing?
I'll go first. I've been playing nothing but Animal Crossing and Final Fantasy VII.
Cool. Where are you in Final Fantasy VII?
I'm in the Shinra building. I'm 30 hours in. And me and a buddy that I've known since second grade, we've been playing it kind of off and on, and he's way ahead of me. But I said this in the last episode, it's weird when you're playing the game. It feels like you're playing some of the memories because how your brain interprets some of the 2D art. Mm-hmm. I was trying to figure out, I haven't played Final Fantasy VII since high school, so I can't quite remember how long Midgar was, but I don't think it was 30 hours.
No, it's about 8 to 10.
Okay. Yeah.
Like the beginning of the game. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the quality is great most of the time, but when the quality takes a dip in some of the like the skybox, some of the textures on that is pretty weird.
See, I found when I've been playing it that the skybox like above you looks really good, but whenever you're on the second level and you're like looking down at the city underneath you, it just looks like a flat image.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm not sure if that's a callback to like the original Final Fantasy VII.
No.
Or, yeah, I didn't think so. It's just like a round.
We made this one element of the game purposefully shitty.
But other than that, I'm really liking the stuff that they did, changing the story and changing some of the characters and the overall narrative. Just like how the characters are facing some personal growth, even in this first game of the series, and it's really nice. And Animal Crossing is still amazing. I'm having coworkers text me and they're like, "Hey, I heard you play Animal Crossing," which has never happened with any other game.
Oh, I thought you meant that coworkers have never texted me.
No, yeah. My coworkers never talk to me, but now they do because I play Animal Crossing. No, I'm
See, Andrew,
You're
it's
cool
worth
now,
it.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's just like a weird phenomenon. It's just like blowing my mind that gamers, people who I didn't think owned a Nintendo Switch have a Nintendo Switch and they're playing Animal Crossing.
The two hits so far of quarantine have been Animal Crossing and Tiger King.
Yeah.
I can't think of any other hit that has been at the same level as those two.
Well, to that extent, like Animal Crossing is happening like at my house. Like my wife, who does not play video games and has some, I don't know what the word is, almost like blocks against playing them, has gotten kind of into Animal Crossing, and she likes to buy clothes and change her character's clothes and stuff. And so like it's fun. Like every day at lunch during the week, the three of us will play together here at our house.
That's so fucking cute. Man.
It is. And I'm grinding extra hard to help them meet all their goals. So like my house is like
you're a real family man.
Totally. Like I went and made runs of turnips for them today. So we're doing that, and my son is playing it as well. And I just have to talk about him for a minute because he beat Lego City on his own which is a big event in our household. Lego City Undercover. And then he's been playing a lot of Mario Maker when I'm working like next to me and being like, play this level. And it's just hot garbage.
We need to add a new segment to this podcast called "What is Patrick's Kid Playing?"
Yeah, I guess so. Because I'm playing these games too, though, because he'll need help here and there, or he'll want me to test his level or whatever. But it's so fun that he's building his own world, and I'm going to send it to y'all. It's going to be something.
I can't wait.
But I've been playing Mario Maker, and I've been playing Animal Crossing, like we talked about. And then the game that I've been playing a lot of is this Cosmic Star Heroine game on the Switch Lite.
Yeah, you're sticking with it?
I am, and I've gotten really into it. I wasn't sure about it at first because the story feels a little bit rushed and the character development feels rushed. But the more I've played it, I just love turn-based games, role-playing games, and I think the pixel art is really great. And I'm kind of settling into the world and the story now. And I'm probably about 7-8 hours into it. I think it's maybe only 10 or 15 hour game. I'm not sure. So I have some criticisms, but I keep wanting to play it, and it looks great on the Switch Lite. So I'm
right. Yeah. So that gets a hard recommend from Patrick.
Yeah. Like. I was really iffy about it at first, but I'm into it now. If you like old JRPGs, and pixel art and stuff, especially.
Does the battle system, are they random battles, or are they like
it's like Chrono Trigger, where there are enemies on screen and you walk into them, but they don't respawn, so like you can't grind
into it.
Yeah.
I hate grinding. Very good. I'll go next. So I have been playing a ton of Mario Maker 2, so much so that basically so many games came out this past week, or updates that came out this past week, that I haven't really been able, Matt, to get back to Final Fantasy VII. Like I played a little bit more with Aerith, and I'm like, I'm starting to like get Aerith's fighting style right now, which I really like. But other than that, like I haven't been able to put time into that game as much as I wanted to. So much Mario Maker 2. I've already cleared like 2 or 3 worlds.
Wow.
Yeah, like I mean, some of them are only like 10 levels. Some of these worlds definitely just feel like showcases of all these people's levels and don't really necessarily feel like fully, thought out and worked on worlds that stand on their own. But the ones that I have been playing that work really well are great. I played one by this dude named Kirby, and so it's Super Kirby World. And that one was fantastic. It used all the different styles. And then, like I said, this kind of Forgotten Worlds game that I've been playing, I've been really, really loving. So I can't wait to play more of that. In fact, I'm just going to try to fucking beat that last level as soon as we finish this podcast. Other than that, I played the Tetris 99 Maximus Cup. And this is the first time that I actually got Tetris Maximus multiple times during the cup.
Nice.
Very happy about that. I think I won first place like 3 times during this cup this time. The Ring Fit Adventure Cup.
You think you'll get $10 or whatever?
Fuck no, man. The people that like get the money like are so much better than me. But like regardless, it is a ton of fun. Anytime there's an update to that game, it just gives me an excuse to play it more. Also been playing a lot of Animal Crossing. I will say, since last episode, I have a 3-star island and have unlocked all the terraforming and island designer stuff in the game. And I had my KK concert and all that kind of stuff. So you're right, Matt. It does change the game considerably whenever you unlock the terraforming. I haven't made like crazy drastic changes to my island as of yet. Just doing a lot of like little things that I've been wanting to do for a long time, but haven't been able to do. Like I haven't been able to put a bridge here because there isn't enough land. So I've been like slightly extending the land in order to do that. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. But it's great. And it's like, I can see myself playing this game for a long time, even though I'm starting to drop off a little bit. Like I've gotten to the point in the game where it's like, I'll make a little bit of an update. I'll like collect some stuff at the beginning. I'll get all my fossils. I'll like buy a bridge, buy some stuff, and then kind of call it for the day and then wait until that stuff is ready tomorrow, which I think is probably the pattern of gameplay that I'll be getting into more rather than just sinking hours upon hours into it like I was doing in the past.
More sustainable.
Totally more sustainable, better for my quality of life and my mental health.
To that point about spending so much time on Animal Crossing, I went to go add someone on my Switch, and I saw how many hours that I've spent on Animal Crossing.
It's disturbing.
It was 120.
Oh, dude, hold on, I'm going to look it up right now. What am I at? Let's see, 145. So not that much more, but considerably more. We got, in addition to that, I can't not talk about Picross S4. Picross S4 came out, and man, woohoo! That's a great Picross game. I really recommend it if you're a fan of the series. And if you're not a fan of the series, buy it and become a fan of the series. The Picross S series on the Switch is incredible, and they added some huge levels, and it's I'm really, really enjoying it. Last thing I'll say is the Ninjala beta started today. I don't know if you guys remember, but Ninjala was shown off in one of the more recent Nintendo Directs. It's like kind of a free-to-play 4v4 multiplayer game similar to Splatoon. Definitely visually looks a lot like Splatoon, but it's more kind of melee focused rather than shooting. And it started today. There's one that's it was between 2 and 3 today, and there's another one that starts at 10 tonight, and then there's another one tomorrow. These like kind of beta sessions that you can try out the multiplayer. For the majority of time, I couldn't get in. I was like marred with like connection issues. I think just a lot more people were trying out the game than they anticipated, and so the servers were totally down. I was able to try out a little bit of the tutorial, but I was never actually able to play an online match. So hopefully tonight or tomorrow I'll be able to jump into that and give you guys my impressions next week on the show. But Ninjala is going to be a free-to-play game, so whenever it comes out, you might as well give it a try. But yeah, that's what I've been playing this week. Other than that, just been watching a lot of Community on Netflix. Andrew, you been playing anything cool this week?
I've been playing a whole lot of a really cool game called Super Mario Maker 2. Is the only game that I've been playing.
Hell yeah.
I wish I could add a little bit to it. I think I've probably played a couple games of Rocket League. But this is just my style of gaming. You know, I just kind of lock into games and put in hundreds and hundreds of hours, and don't dabble as much as some other people probably.
What about like books? Have you been reading?
I'm reading the Human Stain by Philip Roth.
There you go.
It sounds very uplifting.
It's not as bad as it sounds, but it's a little tough.
And that's being ported to the Switch as well, right? Yeah. Very good. I know we've spent a good amount of time playing tabletop games and poker and whatnot. So hopefully you're still keeping up some card games and tabletop stuff during quarantine.
Yeah, I'm trying to get tabletop. For some reason, tabletop simulator will not work on my computer. I've spent a couple hours trying to get it going. No luck.
Well, whenever what is that? 51 Worldwide Classics.
You mean Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics?
Yeah, whenever that comes out for the Switch, you'll have to pick that up, Andrew. It's got Texas Hold'em in it.
June 5th.
Yeah.
I just pulled it up.
Yeah, there was actually, we didn't talk about that in the show, but there was a new trailer for that game. So I'm pretty excited about that one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It confirmed motion controls for bowling.
Nice.
Yeah, and darts.
Nice. Well, cool. I think that just about does it then, right? Thanks, Andrew. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, man. Thanks so much,
Andrew.
It was a blast.
That was a blast.
Yeah.
Jinx.
Thanks to Corduroy for doing our music. Sorry, Chris McKeever, we didn't play Disney Tsum Tsum Festival.
We'll get to it next week.
If you have any thoughts on the Mario Maker update, and you're out there listening, or just Mario Maker 2 in general, we'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts, and maybe we'll give you a shout out.
And share world codes if you find any really cool worlds. I'd love to play more of them.
Yeah. If you want to find me, Patrick, personally online, I am most places PDYX.
You can find me on Twitter, Matthew, MATHYOU.
I am everywhere on the internet at Monolith Fiji. And what about you, Andrew? Where can people find you?
You can check out my Instagram at Milk-Eyed Baby.
Nice.
Very good. Very good. You got a pretty good Instagram. It's filled with lots of cool stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, that does it for our episode this week. Thank you so much for listening to us wax poetic about Mario Maker for about an hour and a half. We will be back next week with another exciting episode. If you would like to find our show on social media, we are at Super Switch Headz on Facebook and Instagram, at Switch Headz on Twitter. Just a reminder, give us a review on iTunes, like and subscribe on YouTube, join our Discord and our Facebook group. They're fucking popping off harder than the eyes out of Prometheus when those birds pecked his eyes out. That's so weird. But please join our social. That's what we're saying. We love you guys very much. We'll see you guys next week. Continue to wash your hands. Continue to stay safe. Bye-bye.